just fun day, fun spring, productive. That'd be the word I would use. Very productive spring. Got a long way to go. Got a lot of work to do, but it was still very productive. This will be a fun tape to watch because it was fun to kind of split them up and have guys have to start multiple starters and then see some matchups for a lot of reasons. Self-awareness for some guys as we go into our player meetings and things like that, to be able to encourage them from a confidence standpoint because they really matched up well, or expose them a little bit in what they've got to do to get better. But it was a fun day. Really appreciate our crowd. It was awesome. Starting with the Tiger Walk and being able to recognize our captains, and that was awesome. Excited for them to be able to be honored that way for the rest of their lives. That's a cool thing. It's something they've earned with some really, really great leaders that we're able to recognize. It's always fun to see a bunch of former players back, a bunch of guys in town. It's good to see that and spend time with them, see their kids. Like I just met Christian Wilkins' little son, like a little mini Christian. So those are always neat thing. You never know who you're going to see. I look up and there's Grady Jarrett's mama in the locker room. So always a lot of fun to see parents and former players on this day. Just a great weekend. The weather got better as the day went, and but again, competitive, some good matchup stuff, and then guys we wanted to see play well played well. And then some guys that I would like to have seen flash, they flashed, and then we had a little bit of inconsistency in some spots. But it was really good, and proud of those guys. So now we actually have one more day on Monday. We kind of did that purposely to really be able to get back out on the field one more time and clean up from this scrimmage, and just some cleanup, offense, defense, also some special team stuff, and then just take a day and coach them on how we want the summer to look, how we want the skills and drills to be operated. Because we can get out with them on the field with them some in the summer, but it can't be any competition. You can't do any good on good. It's just true walkthrough, install type stuff. So any type of competitive stuff that they do has to be player led. So really coaching them on how that's supposed to look. So we'll have one more day with them on Monday. And go into all of our player meetings, and again, a lot of evaluation that goes into that: strength conditioning, nutrition, medical stuff, obviously football, academics, you name it. Kind of a holistic, opportunity to sit down with these guys and then just challenge them and help them, as we call, transform. So we kind of finished in the first quarter of our 26th season, and now we're entering the second quarter, which we call the transformation phase, coming out of the get-ready phase, getting ready for prime time, all right, which leads into the fourth quarter, which is our championship phase of this year's journey. So, again, long way to go, a lot of work to do, but this team is it's been productive, and they've had a lot of enthusiasm, and I didn't really ever see it, kind of wane a little bit. From day one all the way to today, there's been a lot of enthusiasm with this group, and they're having some fun. So we just gotta keep doing the work.
You talk about exposing certain guys. I don't think you've ever called guys out over the mic for penalties, mistakes, kind of a new level.
Yeah, a little instant accountability right there. So yeah, I don't know if y'all were there. Yeah, because sometimes you don't really know what you're looking at. You think you do, but most of the time it's usually not. You think that guy missed that, the tackle got a sack, when it really was we forgot to motion and block a guy, or somebody made a wrong read, or quarterback threw into the ground but the receiver converted when he shouldn't convert, whatever it may be. So I tried to give you all a little bit of commentary and introduce, and then just create some pressure. Again, we don't have. I wish we had preseason games. I wish we had all that, but we don't. So trying to create a little pressure on some of these guys, some call outs. Braden Wilmus might have had his best rep when I said, "All right, 79, we're all watching you on this play." It might have been his best rep of the day, and that's just trying to see how guys respond and just create a little pressure, because you know, I mean, we're not opening up with East Boga Community College. You know, we don't get just stick our toe in the water. We just gotta we gotta jump in the deep end quick. Yeah, well, we're long. We can run. It's a physical group. It's been a physical spring. These guys have taken to that. Nobody's shot away from that. We're much improved defensively, much improved from any point in time last year. And so that was really encouraging to see throughout the spring. We were able to, you know, fill some gaps that were, you know, kind of created and maybe some unexpected. And so again, just secondary-wise, we're just way better. And again, length, athleticism, speed. It's a fast group. I think our backers have really, I mean, we're in a totally different place at backer than we were this time last year. Those guys have all improved. We're going to have a nice core right there. It's good to split those guys up today and kind of see them all have to play. So that, I think that's a good sign. And then, you know, I mean, we know what Will Helt and Jaheim can do, but, man, I'm going to tell you, Mayo, the spring that he's had, London Merritt, what a great addition. C.J. Wesley, got a couple more guys coming this summer. So we're just better. We're just better across the board defensively, and then offensively, you know, a lot of learning, and we got better and better and better and better as the spring went. You know, so you almost wish if we had like 7 more days of practice, but you run out of days. But it's been great. Again, a lot of enthusiasm. I like our quarterbacks. I think we got a good situation there. I like our backs. You know, we didn't have you know, TJ and Cole and TJ just got back into practice this week, so they've been out all spring. Wesco's practiced all spring with all the team stuff, but he hadn't been able to do any good on good. So you don't have those 3. You don't have Tristan. So that's 4 guys that haven't been out there. So it's put a lot of pressure on these young guys. I mean, Tyler Brown was the veteran. Everybody else is a bunch of rookies that don't know what they're doing out there, other than like Clark, Sanderson, and Bird. They know what they're doing, and they're productive kids. But so it put a lot of pressure on these freshmen. I mean, because, you know, you're trying to evaluate quarterbacks, and you got 9 Burrows, and you got, you know, Gordo and Salmon, and they know nothing. But that's kind of a double-edged sword a little bit, in that, yeah, it's frustrating in kind of the moment that that's where you are right now, but by the end of spring, they got better and better and better. All 3 of those guys. Juju got better. And so, you know, those guys got a ton of reps that, you know, they might not have got as many if we'd had all of our Ferraris out there. So they look like Pintos and Chevys to start spring, and they look a little bit more like some Malibus by the end of spring. So they're a little better, but they're not quite Ferraris yet. We got work to do. So that was there was some inconsistency there, but that's just, it is what it is. But and they, you know, it's a long way. Just got to go through it. And it's a new offense, and it's fast. And it's a lot of stuff going on. You know, Chad's done a great job. Staff's been great, and you know, C.J. Johnson's a good addition for us. Really feel good about the spring that he and Easy E and Gid have had. I think it's going to be a good group. Same thing with our tight ends. We didn't have Olsen out there, so it just really forced the issue with Bittencourt and Logan. 2 guys obviously are going to have to play for us. Charlie Johnson got an opportunity this spring, more reps. All those linemen, you know, we had for the first time in a while, most all of our linemen were out there this spring, except for Sadler. So most of those guys got a chance to get some really good work, especially when we got Braden Jacobs back. And so, you know, we're just, you know, we're encouraged, not discouraged or anything like that. We're a long way. We got a lot of work to do and a long way to go to be game ready, but it was productive. I mean, it was a very productive spring.
Yeah, but what's the conclusion from Denson not getting in? What's your evaluation?
I mean, depth chart. It's just, I mean, we came out of the spring. CV 1 and Tate's 2. It's not close. Those 2 guys separated, and that's where we are. I mean, that's just where we are. So, you know, CV had a good day today, and again, you got, you know, he's had freshmen out there with him, you know, all spring, but again, they got better, and he had a good spring. He's still got work to. He's got a long way to go. I mean, this is going to be a very competitive summer, very competitive fall camp. You know, he was the lead horse coming in. And he's still got the pole position, but Tate, you know, we made that decision after the break. I mean, he just clearly number 2, and just has separated. And so I've been really proud of him. He's done a lot of work. He's got an elite arm talent, and you know, big, strong. And he made forgot a couple motions today. There's some you know, operational things he's got to keep getting better at, but he just got better and better and better. So, you know, we're coming out of spring with some clarity. And I think we needed that. The team needed that. The players needed that. And I think they all knew that, you know. Coming out of it now with 2 clear guys, we can kind of go into the summer. And, you know, Trent's going to be ready whenever we need him. You know, he's a very steady kid, smart as crap. He's very productive. You know, we know what we got in him, and are very confident in him. And then I tell you what, Brock Bradley, he needs to physically develop a little bit, but this kid's a winner, man. I wouldn't count him out. He's got great arm talent. He's got a great football mind. You know, he thinks he's 6'3", 210. That's just kind of how that kid's wired. And so it's a big summer for him, I think, physically to take the next step. And then Denson is physically as gifted as anybody we got, but just not where he needs to be to you know from a passing game standpoint, you know, to compete, you know, like he needs to. So, you know, it'd be if he stays at quarterback, because I think he's a guy that's got a decision to make. If he stays at quarterback, he will play for us. He'll have a role. He's too talented. We will definitely have a role for him. But he'll help our football team no matter what. But coming out of spring, it's just where we are. You know, you got to make tough decisions, but it really wasn't close. You know, we got 2 guys that separated, and that's why you saw what you saw today.
Could you move Denson? Could you move Denson to another position?
Well, absolutely, we could. But, you know, he's got to buy into that. And, you know, I think he'll have some decisions to make. But if he stays at quarterback, he'll help our football team. There ain't no doubt about it. He'll help us because, again, he's got a unique skill set that we can use. But just limited in the pass game right now with where he is, you know, developmentally, and I think he'll keep getting better. But, you know, we play in 5 months, and we gotta keep moving, and we gotta put the team in position to go win. And there's no question coming out of spring that CV and Tate are the 2 guys that give us the best chance. And so we got to go. And if he moved positions, and again, that'd be something he'd have to talk about. I'd leave that up to him, you know. But so he that's just, you know, goes back to your question. It's just kind of depth chart where we are coming out of spring.
Ideally, when would you like that decision to be made by? Ideally,
I mean, whenever. I mean, it's up to him. Like I said, he wants to stay at quarterback, he can stay at quarterback, and we're going to use him. We'll use him as a quarterback. If he wants to move, then and he decides that, we'll talk about that. But, you know, that'll be his decision. I'm sure we'll talk about it as we go through player meetings here in the next couple of weeks.
Does Tate put himself in a position to maybe challenge for the starting job?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody, ain't nobody got lifetime contracts around here. I mean, everybody's got to prove it. Everybody's got to show up. Everybody's got to earn it. CV didn't do anything to back up. He hadn't done anything to back up. But Tate's done everything to move forward. You know, there was a bunch of guys kind of battling for that second spot, and you know, he cleared that, and he came out of that smoke first, you know, with that group. And so now, you know, he's got a big summer ahead. He's just going to keep getting better. But you know, I don't think CV's going to go backwards. So be a great competitive summer and fall camp, and then you go play games. I mean, that's all we got. We don't get 3 preseason games. You know, we don't get any of that stuff. So all we can do is evaluate based on practice. But I'm very encouraged by the room, not just those 2 guys, by the room. because I think we could use all of those guys, and those guys could help us win if needed. So we'll see how it all plays out.
With the Ferraris wideout still in the garage, definitely was a focus on the running game today. Something that Chad Morris coming back said definitely want to envelop into the offense. How do you think they did overall with Gideon and Davis?
Yeah, well, I think Easy E, caught my eye early on both sides. He played a little bit for both sides, but Gid had a great day. I think Gid was, I don't know what he had. He was maybe close to 100 yards, 80-something yards maybe or so. Gid had a good day.
9 for 80.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, he had a really productive day. He's had a great spring. He's one coming out of it, and CJ's had a great spring as well. He's going to need a big summer. He's made some progress just with his body since he got here. He's made some improvement. I was really proud of him because he came back from spring break actually, a few pounds even heavier than where he was. So he's working his way physically where we need him to be this fall, so he can be a little bit more of an every down type back and not just a situational guy. And that's important to him. He wants to be able to do that. And then Easy's had a very good spring. He's been productive. I'd like to see him take another step this summer from the passing game standpoint. But man, running the football, he's a rolling ball of butcher blades, man. I mean, he punishes you when he runs the football. So I think he's just playing with a little more confidence. And then it was good to get Jarvis back. Jarvis hadn't really played live football in quite a while, so he was able to play a little live football. And I think by the time we get through the summer and fall camp and into the season, course of the season, Jarvis will be a guy that'll help this football team. We didn't really have Jay Haynes outside of a green jersey, so he's still really not in the mix until he can get back out there live.
What have you seen from Polo Anderson this spring? Can he be impactful this fall?
Yeah, got a lot to learn, for sure, but catches your eye every day. I don't know that there's a day that went by that I didn't notice 11. He's long, he's athletic, he can really run. He's a tough kid, he cares. We got us a good one. He's a young player. He's not where Myrick or Jerome or Ronan are, just from or KG from a just knowledge standpoint, but he's a high school kid, in his first semester of college. I mean, he's going to get better, and he's going to learn. Sammy Brown wasn't very good his first spring. I thought he was pretty average. He had a lot. I came out of the spring going, he got a lot to learn. Sammy, he got it. And I mean, I'm like, hey man, if you don't learn what to do, you're just going to be a talented guy on the sideline. But by the time we got to the end of August, Sammy Brown was okay. He's going to be ready to help us. So I would say the same thing about Polo. I think if he does what he needs to do from just a slowing the game down standpoint, formation recognition, alignments, calls, adjustments, all that stuff that happens really, really fast at that position, he'll be able to help our team. But, I mean, certainly special teams and things like that. But he's flashed every single day. Good young talent.